For over a century, the Panama Canal has symbolized American ingenuity and global power. When it opened in 1914, it revolutionized commerce, joining the Atlantic and Pacific and fueling economic growth. Even after the 1999 handover, its strategic importance endures. Any disruption sends shockwaves through global supply chains. Now, China sees the canal as both a bottleneck and an opportunity, challenging the old monopoly and reshaping global power. Enter the Grand Interoceanic Canal of Nicaragua, a $50 billion project awarded to a Hong Kong-based company with close ties to Beijing. The Plan A waterway 3 times longer and significantly wider than Panama's, designed for the world's largest ships. The route would cut 173 miles across Nicaragua, dredging through Lake Nicaragua and building new ports, a free trade zone, and an airport. This isn't just a canal. It's an entire economic ecosystem. Proponents promise tens of thousands of jobs and a doubling of Nicaragua's GDP, a powerful lure for one of the hemisphere's poorest nations. Strategically, a Chinese-backed canal in Central America would directly challenge a century of U.S. hegemony. It would give Beijing a foothold just a few hundred miles from American shores, bypassing U.S.-aligned choke points and securing China's trade routes. The canal is the ultimate expression of China's Belt and Road Initiative in the Americas, a crown jewel anchoring Chinese influence in what was once America's backyard. More than steel and concrete, it's a statement of intent. China is building a new global system, with its own rules and infrastructure. The world's trade map is being redrawn. The stakes are nothing less than the future balance of power. The question, can China succeed where others have failed? The Nicaraguan Canal project sent tremors through Washington. For over a century, the Monroe Doctrine declared the Western Hemisphere off-limits to foreign powers. A Chinese-operated canal in Nicaragua is the boldest challenge to this doctrine since the Cold War. The U.S. faces a dilemma: oppose the project and risk alienating Latin America, or do nothing and watch a rival superpower gain ground. Washington's response has been skepticism, quiet diplomatic pressure, and warnings about transparency, environmental risks, and debt trap diplomacy. For Latin America, Chinese investment offers an alternative to U.S. influence: fewer strings, more leverage. But the risks are real: economic dependency, loss of sovereignty, and the potential for Nicaragua to become a client state. The canal forces every nation in the region to reconsider its alliances and future. The strategic chessboard is shifting. The outcome will shape hemispheric power for generations. China's interest in a Nicaraguan canal is part of a larger global strategy. As the world's largest trading nation, China is vulnerable to U.S.-controlled choke points like the Panama Canal. The Nicaraguan Canal is China's insurance policy, an anchor for the Belt and Road Initiative in the Americas. It's about more than trade. It's a move to challenge the U.S. dollar's dominance and promote the yuan in global transactions. By financing and operating a new trade route, China chips away at U.S. economic leverage. The canal is a symbol of China's rise and its vision for a new world order. Beijing isn't just seeking a seat at the table, it's building a new table. The era of unipolarity is over. The multipolar world is here. The Nicaraguan Canal is a foundation stone for that new reality. A Nicaraguan canal would send shockwaves through the global economy. Panama, once the sole gatekeeper, would lose its monopoly and face fierce competition, potentially slashing its revenues. Global shipping companies and consumers would benefit from lower costs, more efficiency, and redundancy in supply chains. Ports on the U.S. East and Gulf coasts could see a boom, while West Coast ports might lose business as trade routes shift. The logistics map of North America would be redrawn, shifting investment and economic activity. China would gain a direct, cheaper route for exports and resources, deepening ties with Brazil and Venezuela. For Brazil, shipping to China would become faster and cheaper, pulling South America's largest economy closer to Beijing. The canal isn't just a path for ships, it's a conduit for shifting alliances and dependencies. Winners and losers will be determined not just by geography, but by how nations adapt. The stakes are global, and the ripple effects will be felt for decades. The world's trade order is on the brink of transformation. The Nicaraguan Canal's ambition is matched by its potential for environmental devastation. The route cuts through Lake Nicaragua, Central America's largest freshwater source and a unique ecosystem. Dredging risks polluting the water, destroying habitats, and threatening rare species. The project would cause mass deforestation, soil erosion, and disrupt protected areas and indigenous lands. Critics warn of inadequate environmental assessments and the risk of irreversible damage. Past engineering failures, like the Aral Sea disaster, loom as cautionary tales. The region's seismic activity adds another layer of risk. An earthquake could trigger catastrophe. Proponents promise green technology and mitigation, but skepticism remains high. The canal presents a stark choice: economic hope for Nicaragua, or an environmental tragedy for the continent. The world must weigh prosperity against preservation. The engineering challenges of the Nicaraguan Canal are immense, moving over 5 billion cubic meters of earth, building colossal locks, and managing complex geology and hydrology. The canal would require vast amounts of water, risking Lake Nicaragua's ecosystem and local water supplies. Technical solutions are unproven at this scale, and the $50 billion price tag could easily balloon. The Hong Kong-based HKND Group faces doubts about its capacity and financing, despite assumed Chinese backing. The economic case depends on future trade growth and shipping demand, uncertain bets. Many analysts wonder if the project is a genuine enterprise or a white elephant destined for failure. Years of delays and little progress fuel skepticism it will ever be built. Yet for China, the strategic logic may outweigh commercial concerns. Even if not profitable, the canal could serve as a geopolitical foothold in America's backyard. The line between marvel and folly remains razor-thin. Behind the grand strategies lies a profound human cost. The canal's route would displace tens of thousands, many small farmers and indigenous people, uprooting lives and traditions. Compensation has been contentious, with many claiming it's inadequate and that they weren't properly consulted. For indigenous and Afro-descendant communities, land is central to identity and culture. The canal threatens to sever that bond. The project pits national development against the rights of the most vulnerable, deepening social divisions. The concession to HKND grants sweeping powers, operating rights for 50 years, legal exemptions, and land expropriation. Critics argue this surrenders Nicaraguan sovereignty, creating a state within a state. Protests have erupted, demanding transparency and the repeal of the canal law. For many, the canal is not progress, but a sellout of Nicaragua's future. The struggle is over who truly benefits, and at what cost. In 2025, the Nicaraguan Canal remains suspended between dream and reality. Financial hurdles, environmental opposition, and geopolitical maneuvering cloud its future. One scenario: the project collapses, a cautionary tale of overreach and the limits of China's ambitions. Another, China pushes forward, redrawing the map of global trade and power and establishing a permanent presence in the Americas. The canal's fate will shape the international order, validating or undermining China's model of state-led development. Success would make the Belt and Road Initiative a true global rival to the West. Failure could damage China's reputation and ambitions. The project is more than a shipping lane. It's a contest of ideologies and visions for globalization. The world is watching to see which path will prevail. Will this canal become a bridge to shared prosperity or a trench in a new Cold War? The answer will echo for generations.